What's good, ladies and gents? Welcome back to MKO Pugilism, aka MKO Boxing, where we talk all things box. Remember to like and subscribe on YouTube, follow on TikTok, all that good stuff. So let's get into it. Just a bit of breaking news regarding the Saul Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford fight. This is a fight that was briefly announced earlier on in the year, about a couple of months ago, and it was quite concrete that it was going to be sometime in September, and it was more sort of rumblings. It was never officially announced, but we did get them both in the ring. A recent fight, they did face off in the ring, and since they've done that sort of in ring face off, it's been kind of radio silence with regard to this fight. We haven't really heard that much about it since they sort of faced off in the ring that one time. But now, thank God, since yesterday's when I sort of got this news, and it's great news for boxing fans, and that is that not only is the fight going to be on, but it's going to be live and exclusively on Netflix, and that's great news for people like me who, you got all these subscriptions, Amazon Prime, Netflix, and all this, and it's going to be on there. So if you're a Netflix subscriber, you're going to be able to watch Saul Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Bud Crawford. Is going to be included in the price of your Netflix subscription. So that's going to massively, at least for my money, it's going to massively boost the viewership, and it's going to give the fight a lot of visibility, probably a lot more visibility than it would have got if it was on the Zone. I'm sure it would do great numbers on the Zone. That's a big, massive platform. That's where basically most of the major fights are happening, because you got Eddie Hearn was exclusively on there. You got Golden Boy on there. You got now Frank Warren's gone over to there. So the Queensbury stable, most of the top heavyweights in the world are on this network. The three of the major promoters are on that the Zone. But Netflix is even bigger, because on Netflix we've all got a Netflix subscription. You watch your films on there, all sorts, and it is going to get a lot of attention. I think numbers wise, it's going to do a good few million on there, because it's going to be that much easier to watch. And even probably people who, let's say, boxing fans who may not typically pay for a pay-per-view, and in some sense I don't blame them, because in like United States, for example, you're talking, for most of Canelo's pay-per-views, you're talking, sort of $50, $60 at the lowest price point, and you're talking $80 at the highest. So a lot of Canelo's fights, and not only Canelo, Javante Tank Davis, all the sort of pay-per-view guys in America, the top guys that fight on pay-per-view regularly, you're talking about, spending hundreds of dollars on these guys' fights. So, and I reckon even the people that don't do that, but most of the people that don't do that don't pay for the pay-per-views and stuff, and maybe watch it with other means or whatever. I reckon most of the people, even those that don't support pay-per-views typically, this is going to be great for them, because I guarantee most of them people who don't buy pay-per-view will have a Netflix subscription. Netflix is super, super popular, probably hundreds of millions of subscribers and all that. And it's one of those that pretty much it's in every household, Netflix, Amazon Prime, but I'd say especially Netflix. So I think this is going to get, unprecedented views. I don't think it's going to match up to the views that Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson did, because those names are just too big. The name of I'm Mike Tyson it just transcends the sport. So you're never gonna beat numbers you do for Mike Tyson, and even Jake Paul's name is just enormous. And while Canelo does exceptional numbers for the sport of boxing, Terence Crawford, he does kind of decent numbers, but he's on the lower end when it comes to sort of pay-per-view numbers and pay-per-view buys. He's a great fighter, but he's not the greatest ticket seller. He's not like Floyd Mayweather back when he was in his prime, and when he was sort of in the end of his career, 1 million each time or 2 million, however many million against McGregor and Pacquiao. Crawford is, skill wise and boxing wise, his talent is up there with the greats. But as far as sort of his selling and the numbers he does, as far as, let's say, ticket sales and pay-per-view numbers, is not quite up there. Canelo is, but it takes two to tango. But I think putting this on Netflix is just going to maximize the potential, maximize the numbers this is going to do. And I, for one, as a boxing fan, yeah, I'm grateful that it's on Netflix, because it means that for me personally, it will be included in my regular subscription, and I reckon that's going to be the case for sort of 9 out of 10 boxing fans. I mean, most fans will have a Netflix subscription. So I think, yeah, great news, excellent news. And it's going to enable this fight to be more widespread, and enable people who perhaps don't even watch boxing but have a Netflix subscription, they'll be able to. So I think you're going to get a lot of casuals and people tuning in just out of curiosity. So yeah, it's going to do great numbers. And I don't know if it'll break the server like Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson did, but yeah, fantastic news there for the boxing fans. And let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. Until next time, it's MKO Boxing, over and out.